Soundly's back. Been busy with work, but I am back, and I am planning on doing observations this fall and winter. I have special guests with me today. I don't know how to pronounce smiley face heart, but I know Tim Ossman. So I have Tim with me. And I've been asking Tim about his observations that he's made. And I just want some context, I guess, and just to share with other people's all in one place that we can, show maybe Google Maps where the observation is taking place. But your observations are freaking awesome, man. I was looking at that yesterday, and I'm like, wow, look how sharp that was. I mean, you had some days there where you had amazing seeing conditions. So
yeah, it was. I mean, that day, towards when it was hotter, obviously, it wasn't as good, but it kind of cooled down. The sun was kind of obscured by clouds for a little bit, and basically caught it on a very interesting day. And basically, the observation is from Antelope Island, the causeway from basically the North Salt Lake City area to the Antelope Island. It's an actual island. It's a state park. So there's a causeway that goes out to it, and it's not like your CGI causeway, that you have ospreys that are CGI and stuff on. This is just this you couldn't do that good of an observation on, and it's only several miles. It's not straight either, so it's not as good. But off of it, basically, I'll get in the water and put the tripod in the water, and if you can see my screen here. I'm actually, this is just from my phone, but what you can see is this is actually Antelope Island. This is how close I am to it. And the causeway's just behind me. And over here, obviously, here in a bit, you'll see. But I mean, you can almost see with a camera phone that there's curvature. But we'll get into that. So the P900, I do different observations of different heights, 1.5 foot. 5 foot and 25 foot.
Yeah, that's the image that I was commenting on to you about, the stacked image where you have the different heights. I really love that image, man. That, like, where you have it all stacked together like that. And I was thinking the only thing that could make that better is just to put some like metadata on there, like, where you shot from, where you shot to, and basically just kind of give them the details on how to reproduce the observation if they wanted to. That would be an awesome graphic, infographic.
Yeah, I pretty much did a video, but unfortunately with my videos, my channel is only for people that are kind of in the know. I don't really want a bunch of flat Earth people coming over. I don't really want people have known me for years on YouTube talking about different subjects, so they're subscribed, and that's really all I care about.
Yeah, I understand that.
But it is interesting. I mean, I have a video on it, but again, it has a very satirical title. So I went over basically this observation in a video called something to do with flat Earth reprobate. Is probably about 2 months now or more. But basically, I've gone out here about 5-6 times at least looking at the Great Salt Lake, or actually Salt Lake City, over the Great Salt Lake. And I think that this observation is probably one of the best in that it's higher in altitude than most of these choppy air situations of people low looking over the ocean. Right. Most importantly, the water is ridiculously calm. So if you can see this picture, it's at 1.5 foot. This is the Mormon building right here, and basically I have a comparison.
Timmy, I just realized something too.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to
click on me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to share your screen, aren't I? Let me see.
Can you just click on my picture?
Yeah, I should be able to. Hold on. Don't I have to present you? Yeah, there it is. Okay, present to everyone. There we go. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is one of the very low observation points, and this is the Capitol building right here, which is actually on a really big hill that has a bunch of trees that makes it look basically almost as high as the highest building, which is the Mormon building right here. And this observation is crazy. It's just a gift that keeps on giving because people like Nathan and Ranty and people really use the curve calculator a lot. So I use it on these observations, and it's really it comports with the sphere. It's kind of interesting, but I think that all around, I mean, at 26 miles, I think that there's enough curvature that you can see on the z-axis that it's just hard to comprehend when you look at comparison shots. So I'll go ahead and pull that up.
One thing I would like to point out right now is that your observations are so clear. There's none of that like mirage, mirroring or whatever they like to talk about all the time. It's like you have a very sharp horizon right there in these images. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, and I guess it's always pretty sharp, but sometimes I have gotten some, and you are echoing a little bit, just FYI, in my ears.
Really?
I'm used to having hearing myself anyway. But anyway, as you can see in this picture, as you raise in height or altitude, you can see the difference between, I mean, even the littlest amount, 1.5 foot to 5 foot. And like you're saying, yeah, the horizon is always very, very clear. And as I was saying, basically the inferior mirages that I did see on certain days were basically this, but there was some miraging happening below.
Right.
So I've been out also in weather, probably upper 40s to 90, and I've never seen this, which it must be pointed out. Rancy totally botched this and then banned my account after I was giving him praise and told people to donate to him for a decent tripod. Basically, this observation is on Antelope Island. It's a way higher elevation, and it's closer to Salt Lake City. All this was basically posing to do was to be able to make a comparison. And that's exactly what I did. So the 1.5 foot is right here. And so you can raise the opacity on the layer. And basically, it's mostly about this building here. Because the parallax is a little bit off for the other buildings, but you could do this for any building, basically, that you can see. So in this observation, like I said, the gift that keeps on giving, 26 miles for some reason, and these buildings are 100 feet in elevation above the Great Salt Lake, this supposed flat water that has
You're saying that the base of the building is 100 feet above it.
The base of the building starts 100 feet above what this is looking over.
Right.
So I think it's, and you can even, there's so much detail with this P900. It's decent, at least, enough to be able to actually even count the windows.
Yeah.
See, and so I did this in Photoshop somewhat roughly, but it's basically half this building that's being obstructed. And so, like we said, 100 feet in elevation, and this is rough estimates. People can actually look this up, but it's a very clear cut thing, because I think this is 420 feet or something like that. Go ahead.
And for the audience, what building is that again? You said it's a Mormon building?
Yeah, it's the Mormon building, and ironically, on the front of the Mormon building, there's basically what looks to be a representation of a flat Earth map on both entrances.
That's ironic.
Just very ironic, dude.
Oh, just for the record, Mormons typically do not believe in the flat Earth. I know some Mormons, and they don't proclaim that. However, what's the name? Is there a name for that building, like that people could look up on like Google Maps or something like that? Or how about this? How about you just pull up Google Maps and show us like exactly where you're taking a picture from and where it's going to? I think that would be useful information. I'm just curious, mostly,
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see. Yeah, let me do this real quick.
Looks like some flat earthers pants in there.
All
I'm
right,
kind of with
so
I'm kind of with you, Timmy. At the whole trying to convince flat Earth people. I'm so past that. The only reason I'm doing observations now is for the people that are genuinely curious and interested in it. And
yeah,
of course, we're gonna have trolls in our comment sections, but oh well, it is what it is.
so basically, I'll pull this back up here. As you can see, I mean, the Great Salt Lake is absolutely ginormous, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like being at the ocean, but then there's mountains, and this is one of the only points I know of in the surrounding valley area that you can actually see a sunset, because I mean, and really all there's mountains all behind too, which is it's just like these have hundreds and hundreds of feet, but they're so far away that literally the sun sets and you can actually see it set. So I've actually been with a group of people that go out there and walk around and do that. But basically, I'll say this is the observation point. So this is Antelope Island, and this is Salt Lake City downtown area, which basically is where we're looking at some of the tallest buildings.
Right.
And I'm basically right here-ish.
I see. Okay.
But I do have better information. I just wasn't exactly prepared. But I mean, you get the gist of it, and you can do an
Yeah,
approximation
that's
if you
that's
want to.
fine. That's fine. You don't have
Yeah,
to tell me your exact spot.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it's interesting that there's all that land in the front of the city, right, in between you and the city, that's completely hidden. You know.
yeah, yeah. And Ranty, I had this picture up on a live stream, and I did it on purpose because I did this in this comparison way before. Ranty saw this and said that I accidentally pulled it up, and I had it up on my screen for like 10 minutes, dude, right in front of my face. And he's like, "This picture is a real picture that he took basically," and said it was from the same spot. And he was like speculating on how he could see the land and all this kind of stuff. So, so it's just comical with these people.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, it really does not even visually, empirically comport with what you would expect on a flat plane with such flat, relatively flat looking water as you look at. You wouldn't
Right.
expect to see basically 300-foot obstruction. Um,
No. No.
just you wouldn't. It defies geometry. It makes no sense. I when I go home, I would drive past these buildings. There's a highway that's under this water right here that
Right.
I travel on to go home. I see these buildings. I see the big mound that the capital city building is on. So I know
Right.
all this stuff is there. But anytime that I go to this area, I look at it, and it's just ridiculous, dude.
I
Absolutely
know. I
stupid.
know that Mormon building is your subject or your main subject, but the Capitol building to me is really impressive because you can see the giant trees in front of it, right? At the 25-foot mark or whatever that is, a hill or
Oh,
trees or
oh, there
whatever.
you go. Yep, yep. A
I
hill of
mean,
trees. Look
there's
at
like
this here.
giant trees, and then when you go down to the 1.2 foot mark, right? They're gone. It's like
Yeah.
look at all that land that's just under the horizon right there. It's just so obvious.
And I'm telling you, sometimes and you know this, you got to be able to predict it basically, but sometimes the atmospheric conditions aren't that great. And actually, truthfully, I haven't been able to do basically any observations because there's been a fire in Thule um, near the valley, and then the California fires. So there's
Right.
been a ton of smoke and then smog and all this kind of stuff. So another interesting thing that I did was I went to see if I could do a 30-mile observation. And basically, it's awesome, dude. This Stansbury Island I went to not too long ago. And basically, I took my non-off-roading car off-roading basically up onto this island. But this is a 30-mile observation. And what's interesting is the Salt Lake City airport is right here. So in this observation, there's a direct line of sight to the airport. There's also a lack of evidence of that. I think it's over here actually. There's the tower, and at certain heights, I mean, it's just completely gone.
Yeah.
But this Stansbury was pretty interesting. Unfortunately, like I said, it was pretty smoky. I would love to take it. I still might get a P1000. I did pre-order it and I canceled it, but.
Oh man, really? I'm pre-ordering it tomorrow. Actually, I've already. Yeah, from B&H Photo.
Yep, B&H's are good to go through, but I didn't get as clear imagery from here, which I was about right here, and I went high on basically this mountain that this little island is, and at one point when I was looking over to here, I actually saw what you saw as far as like an airplane, but I saw it in the other direction. You saw it going away from you, disappearing at a fast rate. I actually see it going at a fast rate, and like across the city too, the city, and then it just disappears below the horizon, dude.
I wonder if do they ever come in from a direction where you can see them flying towards you? Could you reproduce that type of observation?
They kind of lackadaisically just float about like Salt Lake City for a while. I don't know if it's the landing or what. And really, I don't think there's too many hubs. It's definitely not like as big as Denver International or anything.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's I've shown this to Bob from Globebusters, and he called me. He said that I didn't understand refraction, and that after all this research, I'm an idiot because of it, basically. Then I gave all this to Jaron, and I wanted him to do a video. I said, hey, this is all my work. You can basically reproduce it and tell me what's going on here with these buildings. And I've given this to Beyond the Imaginary Curve, Dogmatic Dell, and he just says that it basically, like he said with your stuff, he says that basically I'm cherry picking observations, which this comes from somebody that has zero observations. Complete and utter rhetoric is all this guy has. Yeah. But he can criticize us for people that actually do observations with the P900. That is like, hey, it's the best ever.
They throw that out there. They say all types of things. It's CGI, cherry pick observations. I'm a liar. I'm a fraud. I mean, they say all those things, but the only reason they say those things is because they don't have any evidence whatsoever to support their claims. And so they have to, try and decredit us because that's their only move. They have no other moves. Because if you remember, Dogmatic Dell, for sure, at one point it was the horizon always rises to eye level and water's always flat. And then when we started making observations that showed differently, they changed their tune, right? They had to come up with some explanation. And so they wanted to start using refraction. Unfortunately for them, refraction works exactly the opposite of what they're claiming. Under typical standard conditions, refraction is going to make you see further, not shorter around the globe. And it certainly doesn't create the globe. It actually negates the curve. And unfortunately for them, that's the truth. And people know that. And the only people that actually listen to that whole refraction nonsense are the people that are already, brainwashed by them.
Yeah.
We can't really help those people, unfortunately.
Yeah, they can only help themselves. But do you still see my screen by any chance?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
So this is with the 4K Phantom while I was out there, so you can kind of see a little bit of the surrounding area. So I would basically do observations in that I would shoot it up straight up, and it doesn't have the zoom capability as yours does, but you can definitely get the hint, mostly in 4K.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's happening here. And also this here is Antelope Island, obviously, and this here is where you should be looking towards Great Salt Lake City. Now, as you rise, you can also see, I mean, you can tear this video apart. Yeah, you can tear this video apart, and every single part of it you will see more of it as this rises. And also, I took this out there because this claim of the horizon rises to high level is just absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
And they continue to pitch it, and I mean, it's gotten very bizarre actually after since you've been gone. It's been getting really weird, dude.
Yeah, I've actually noticed it was interesting whenever I was gone. I guess I kind of I was kind of forced into the situation of not really being able to pay too close attention to the flat Earth scene or forums or anything like that, and just had to focus on work projects. Things are starting to slow down, so with work, and so I'm like, okay, I need to get back to my subscribers and the stuff I've been doing, and I come back and I'm like, man, like they're saying some things now that are exactly like opposite. Like I had that moment where I realized they were no longer saying that things were flat, and water was flat, and the horizon rises to eye level. Now they're saying, of course it looks curved, but that's because of whatever.
Yep.
Yep.
Any ad hoc excuse to fulfill this.
Exactly. So like their whole conversation is completely changed. Like now they're accepting that it looks curved, but now they're trying to come up with reasons why it looks curved. And that to me is bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, they have to, like you said earlier. But as you can see in these observations, this is another reason why the Great Salt Lake is very interesting for any kind of observations. As the drone is like 1,600 feet and starts to decline, this is a mountain in the distance, and they're at different distances, so you can kind of gauge and really do some absolutely awesome observations with this.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, you can watch things like this, and this becomes evident. But because of these reflections, it's a little bit harder to see. But I mean, it's just
it seems obvious to me, Tim.
It's very proportional too. That's the problem. It's not like you're going into like this giant band of like dirty air or whatever.
Right.
There's actually something very tangible and quantifiable here. With height, you're seeing more. And as you can see, this mountain is completely gone.
Right.
And I'm telling you, dude, it's amazing that you can actually walk up the causeway 25 feet, look at Salt Lake City with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk down and see less of it, dude. This observation is amazing, man.
That's what I've tried to tell people too, is that, even with the P900, even with, 4K videos, it's not the same as being there. Like when you go there, your eyes are good enough to see the curvature. They really are. And I've tried to convince people that it's like, look, just walk out to the causeway, or stand where I was standing without a camera and just look with your eyes, and you will see it curving. And you do. I mean, it is easy to see if you go look for it. If you actually get out of your room for a second and look for it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, days like this, sometimes you can actually see the water, dude. I mean, it's like some days are like glass, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's so calm, but it's so big. So this defeats number one, their horizon rises to eye level argument. It defeats that water is flat and can't curve because there's no waves here. You can't use waves as something.
Right.
This one here has like
you can't say
inch-high
that
waves.
You can't say that the waves or the tides are somehow high enough to block stuff in this situation for sure. It doesn't make sense anyway, but in this situation, it makes even less sense.
What's funny is that
I would just like to look. I would just like to commend you on this. Aside from the whole flat Earth stuff, this footage is freaking beautiful, dude. Like, it's just awesome. Like, I just like watching it. I could seriously make that my backdrop right there. What you're showing right now, I could make that my backdrop. It's animated. Like, it'd be awesome.
Yeah,
So
dude.
awesome, man. It's kind of gives you like a chill type feeling, you know?
Being out there is the same way, dude. I mean, you sometimes, and it's so different. Like Utah is so fussy, man. It's just not in a bad way, but it's like I'm gonna throw giant clouds at you today, and I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna rain on you real quick, you know, because it is in the valley, so it's coming over the mountains. But this is a video of
Look
the
how
P900.
sharp that horizon is, bro.
I know, man.
So
And
sharp.
when I brought this up, Riley was like on Nathan's. He was like, "See that dark band?" He's like, "See that dark band?" He's like, "That's a Fanta Bermosa." I was.
You have to deny your eyes, brother. Oh,
Yeah.
and even if it is, I mean, it's still not enough. It's still not enough to cover the entire building. Oh man, look how sharp it is, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
those conditions that day were amazing. I can tell.
Yeah. And
I don't
really,
think I've ever seen New Orleans even that sharp, man. That's amazing.
yeah, I think it has something to do with the altitude a bit.
Mm-hmm.
This water is 4,000 foot above sea level. Um, So I think it has something to do with that. I think also that the water is so, I mean, literally from here to I've even thought of doing tests, and really I don't really care what flat earthers think, but I've even had think about doing tests like walking out on this water because it's like, dude, it's like maybe a foot or two deep or something like that.
Yeah.
So I could just walk all the way and put out like sticks of the same sort, like different colors for like foot, you know, indications or whatever,
Yeah.
and do observations like that or something
Certainly
like
could
that.
do that. Yeah, absolutely. You
Um,
know,
but
George did something similar to that.
yeah, he did. He did it smarter to where he predicted with the Glober predictions basically.
Yeah, he actually
Constructed things.
right. He actually put it out where the tangent line should be, which was interesting. A very interesting observation. But dude, you know what you could do. You know what you could do. And this is just an idea. Is that you could get little buoys that have reflectors or lights on them, and you could just put them right on the surface of the water, dude. I mean, I think you'd see them curving.
Sick, yeah. Interesting. And they would be anchored kind of in
Yeah,
a way.
just anchor it to where it's floating right on the surface of the water. I mean, the surface of the water is the same. So you just put it right on the surface of the water and put like a little disco ball or something in there, something that would reflect a lot of sunlight. I mean,
Yeah. So
that'd be really cool.
this is a really nice video right here. First off, you see like these mountains here, but it turns around, it shows you what Antelope Island looks like. There's antelope here. There's buffalo. I've seen all kinds of really cool stuff around this area. You can drive, but basically, actually, that comparison shot, I drove in on this road and was pretty high up and actually looked at Salt Lake City over here so that I could see it. I think I
Yeah.
was like over here probably, but it's just this whole landscape is unreal, dude. You can
Yeah,
go to any
breathtaking.
spot. Yeah, you can go to any spot and just fucking take a picture, man.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It really is pretty. That's what I was noticing about your footage, man. It's just like so pretty.
Yeah, you'll still have to plan a trip up here sometime,
I really would love to, man. I really would.
winter or something. Go skiing. That'd be fun. But yeah, I've
Look, that plane was
yeah,
flying down into the ground. It looks like.
This chemtrail?
No, based on those, the rockets, whenever they fly around the horizon, they think they're flying back into the ocean. That airplane must have been flying back into the ocean, no?
What's
Flying
funny?
through the desert.
What's funny about this is that I went out here with a lot of equipment and didn't even know to do this observation. I basically was going through footage on the one of my P900s at the time, and was like, "What the heck is that?" And so the next, 5 times that I went out there, I knew to go and look in this area because Salt Lake City's just right there, man. I mean, show me the curve, bro. Like,
Yeah, there it is.
like Soundly did it, and then I did it, and multiple people have shown it. But now the thing is z-axis curvature is not acceptable. Only x-axis curvature is acceptable. Now, this comes with a caveat to know deep down inside that even if you take the best rectilinear lens up high enough on the ocean, got the imagery of the curvature, and you showed it to them, it would be a fisheye lens or something. I mean, it
Yeah,
would be
of course.
CGI. It's just
Yeah.
there's no point. There's no point, dude. But Flat Earth produced this imagery, for people to watch. So I wouldn't have probably done this, and this wouldn't be being shared because of this whole flat Earth sophism side Trojan horse meme on the internet.
Yeah, I guess in a way we do. I mean, there's positive, right, that comes out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
There are positives that come out of it. Like all of us are kind of more curious about the world. We're learning things that we learned long ago but forgot, and like brushing up on our math or physics or whatever. Going out and taking beautiful photography like this. I mean, you know, I would have never gotten so deep into my photography hobby if it wouldn't have been for this. I can say that, truthfully.
Same. Yeah, same here. And people like Rumpus even share the sentiment of, I wouldn't have been doing this, or I wouldn't have, understood this, or
Right.
people like Slice Arcane, I bet, have brushed up on, some of their skills or some of his
Absolutely.
skills on, I mean, definitely.
So I'm curious. Now that we're talking about the Great Salt Lake and Salt Lake City, did you ever make it out to West Wendover and photograph Highway 80 or Interstate 80?
I went on it, but I don't like the conditions there. It's just, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would need a day that it was maybe in the winter or something,
Right.
because it's just too hot, dude.
Hmm.
Much too hot. But I should have. But I was going to Lake Tahoe and did observations there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Lake Tahoe to me is one of the prime places to see these types of observations where you can actually see obstruction. Um, because the lake is long enough and there's mountains ringing the entire thing. Like you can literally go to the I guess it's the north side, and you can photograph back towards the south side, and you can just like literally go to the top of a mountain, take a picture, and like walk down the entire mountain taking pictures, and you'd see exactly what we see in those drone footage shots.
Yeah, so I did higher observations, and I noticed basically in Lake Tahoe from these higher observations that I could see things on the other coast, like
Hmm.
houses and different boats. You could see boats and all this kind of stuff. Look at these
Absolutely.
houses. You can see
Yeah,
these.
absolutely.
But a funny thing happens when you go actually closer to the ground is that basically you can't see anything.
Yeah.
But I did find this observation interesting is that you see this here, how close this is to the water.
Right.
This is actually a road. And basically, if you look at these higher observations, uh, you can see, let's see, I haven't looked at these in quite a bit. Went to San Francisco and Sacramento and met different people, and it's a pretty good time. It was the first time I'd been to San Francisco.
I love San Francisco, man. It's a great city, and
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And all the cities around it too, like Mountain View. That's another good place. All the Silicon Valley stuff. I mean, and of course, you know, all the stuff that all the stuff that California is known for. The Big Sur and
oh yeah. So anyway, when you do get to the ground and you look for any of those boats, buildings that we're seeing at higher altitude, first off, you can see trees for some reason, basically looking like they're underwater throughout these. But funny thing is you can't see any of that.
Right.
And again, this is in the higher altitudes, which I like. These are my preferred observations, because I went to San Francisco, and of course the ocean is just rapid, dude. And I looked at some things far away, and it's like, oh, I can see this much at this point, and then at another point, it's like, you can't see shit. Or there's a huge disparity basically with swells and waves and stuff. But yeah, so basically in any of the pictures that were on the ground, I went through the whole thing, and I couldn't see anything from about 6 foot off the ground. So just doesn't fit the whole flat Earth narrative. And this is a pretty long stretch of water as well. It's pretty decently calm, but of course there's boats and all that kind of stuff, so it's definitely not as calm as the Great Salt Lake. But yep, anywhere I've gone, I've always observed, doing star trails and all that kind of stuff, exactly what it comports with the spherical model. So
I'm assuming you stayed like on the south of Lake Tahoe. Is that where your photographs are from, or did you go all the way around? Or
that's a good question. It's going to be the north, on the Nevada side.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've always wanted to go back there and go to the north side and take a picture back towards the south side. And the south side is where they have all the casinos and the big buildings and stuff like that. And I was just curious what I'd be able to see.
Gotcha.
And they also have the, the big, like ski resorts that have the, what are they called? The lifts. They have the lifts that go upside the mountain.
Yeah.
So I was like curious, like if I would be able to actually make out like the lift, and see if I could actually go to the top and actually count the lifts that are actually on the line. I don't know, and it's just stuff I've always wanted to go back to Lake Tahoe just because I know there's so many opportunities there for seeing this type of obstruction, and like I said, it's cold,
Yeah, this is just for Anthony Riley. I heard him one time. He said it was absolutely BS that you could take star imagery with a 50 mil lens. This is an evergreen in the mountains with absolutely ridiculous amount of stars. I've never seen so many stars.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But
what I don't understand, why would he think you can't take a picture of the sky?
Because he's thinking like zoom, like a flat earther would. Like you need zoom.
The sky's all the way around you. Why do you need to zoom in on it?
Yeah. So this is amazing, man. This is a 50 mil. This is a pretty cheaper, intermediate camera from Nikon D3200. Cheap, a nice 50 mil actually lens. 10-second exposure, 6400 ISO.
Nice. That looks awesome, man.
it takes in enough light and has I mean, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how much light you can take in is often less about the sensor and more about the lens. So if you have a good lens, you can typically pull in a lot of good light. Even with a poor sensor, you can still get really good imagery.
Yeah, I went camping like last weekend or something. I don't know, I forget. But I went to near Flaming Gorge. Absolutely astounding area. Um, Pretty untouched. Not, I had the Mac Daddy of uh, observational points from the start with the Great Salt Lake. So I'm kind of picky when it comes to, I need some distance,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of places don't even have even close to that kind of distance.
No, no.
So I was fishing for some what is it, tiger trout up here.
Mm-hmm.
So I had quite the meal. It was quite nice. But me and,
So I guess
me
I
and
guess you caught them then, huh?
yeah, me and some friends had quite the weekend.
Nice.
But what was I gonna say here?
Looking for distance.
Yes, I need that, and it's almost like to a point where I plan. Like I went to Denver a couple weeks ago and drove there actually, and I was looking for observation points near Denver that are like even more than 3 miles that are water, and there's like not many. So even 3 miles, we're talking 26 miles. So we're actually out sleeping, under the stars while it was a meteor shower. So I did get some long exposure I caught some of them, which was interesting. Um, but yeah, this area is
It looks
it's like,
awesome.
yeah, dude. What's funny is people turn their nose up because they're like, "Oh, Mormons," and I'm like, "Yeah, continue to do that," because we're already getting a bunch of influx of Californians up here, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but just saying, it's kind of an untapped, beauty here in America.
Yeah, that's just awesome. I would love to be
Yeah,
there, dude. I like camping. I like going out into the wilderness, into nature. I haven't been able to do it in a long time, but I love doing it, which is, I guess, partially why I enjoy doing what I do with the photography too, because I get out in the in the field and actually go and enjoy the world.
yeah, and you capture a moment too. I mean, this
Hmm.
world, no matter if it was flat or round, it's absolutely astounding. I mean, we live in an amazing place, and
Absolutely.
I think we should enjoy the Earth no matter what shape it is, and kind of course, look at this more objectively. But this is objectivity is not something you should expect from flat Earth believers.
No, actually, when Mick West came out with his, well, he hasn't come out with it yet, but he put it out there for pre-order. Mick West has a book coming out called "Escaping the Rabbit Hole," and it made me think about the scientific method. Is really what I started thinking about. And really, flat earthers haven't even got past the first step. The first step is observations that you then, um, use an induction. You generalize a pattern to come up with some type of model or theory that you're trying to describe reality. They haven't even made it there. You know what I'm saying? Like in all these years, they can't take their observations and generate some type of theory or model that we can then test. And
That's the whole problem. Yeah,
that's the problem.
they most of the, I guess you could say, or classify them as kind of underlings in it, don't really think that it's necessary to have a model or map. And many people have gone to, oh, we don't need a map. Many people have gone to models or pseudoscience. And basically, you know, science is about, you know, a lot about creating predictive models,
Yeah.
and you know, going against the behemoth that does explain everything in the sky, as far as the sun, moon, and stars. You know, good luck.
Hmm.
You're going to have to come up with many, many different forces, and it's not going to be Occam's razor that's going to come out of the other end when it, you know, in this
Right.
decision. So they want to believe that the Earth is flat, and there's people like Beyond the Imaginary Curve that virtually radicalize these people to
Yeah.
go and proselytize to people
Yeah.
to tell them that the Earth is flat, makes them look like goddamn fools. And it's just, you know, people like us, we get shit on by them, but at the same time, it's like, hey, you know, I still think that we're doing the right thing, you know. And as far
Yeah.
as what you did, you went out and spent your money, your time, everything. You did live streams where people are still saying it's fake. Live streams of you doing the observation in your car, going to go and upload it at a place, all live, and
Yeah.
upload video, and it's still fake.
Yeah, I know. I mean, in the beginning, right? They would, I would present an observation. They would throw objections my way, and I'd go, "No, that's incorrect. I'll go make another observation to show you it's incorrect." And I'd go make that observation. I'd come back to give me new objections, and that it was a cycle of that going over and over and over again. And I literally, at one point, I went out there like. I was going out there like 3, 4 times a week, and it's not close. It's like an hour and 15 minutes from me. So, you know, hour and 15 minutes one way. So it was like I was spending a lot of time and effort to actually try and help people, and that really was my motivation. You know, it's like, look, if I just present them this obviously intuitive evidence, then they're going to get it, right? But it's amazing how they just dig in. They just dig in and rationalize away every single thing that they are presented. So it came to a point where I realized there's nothing I can do. You know, there's really nothing that I can do or anyone can do to actually help those types of people, the ones that are, you know, thoroughly, they have just committed to it. Those people are not helpable. It's not about them. It's about the other people that are just hearing about this nonsense for the first time, and you know, how do we get them stuff out there? Of course,
I said it that we need to at least put up counter evidence and
yeah,
counter, you know, and there needs to be, because they create such an echo chamber where if me or you try to talk to D Marble on our actual channels, we just get banned, and you
yeah,
know he's just allowed to just have a pulpit where he just lies from ignorance and bias to a large, you know, thousands of people, and they all believe it. And you know, yeah, there are people that do say, hey, you know, I do take offense to that. I mean, you know, mostly when they're all asking for money and shit, dude, it's ridiculous.
it's interesting that you bring up D Marble because the other day somebody mentioned him in a thread that I was looking at on Twitter, and so I clicked on D Marble's name to see like what they were responding to, and I was blocked. I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
I've never even interacted with this guy one time, and he's blocked me before I eat, but like a pre-block before I've ever even talked to the guy.
That's when you know there's a concerted effort that the person is taking to obfuscate
Oh, absolutely.
certain people, and it should not be like that. For a
Yeah.
person like you, I know you by the work that you did, um, and how you speak and how you talk, um, and you're not some CGI master or whatever. I mean, you did everything you could to prove it, and I don't know if you follow the drama of Flat Earth, but Ranty has been going back and forth with the Awake Souls channel and Limitless channel or whatever. They're saying that he has the best flat Earth evidence, or he actually has globe Earth evidence and he has CGI. So he went out there doing a live stream with the P900. Actually brought 3 objects. He went a little above and beyond you. brought 3 objects that he, in both cameras, the live camera and the P900 camera, put like a paint roller, a hammer, and something else, right? Just to prove that it's real.
This is Ranty?
This is Ranty, dude. His latest video, basically. One of his latest videos. And so they turn back and say, oh, it's fake. It's CGI. And they're like, we could do better CGI than that, dude. I mean, it's...
Wait. So Ranty is trying to take an observation, and Awake Souls is saying that Ranty's footage is CGI? Is that what?
Yeah.
What?
Yep. So we have
eating themselves, man.
We have literally flat earthers going after other flat earthers. So
wow.
I'll have to pull that up, because it's also ironic that Ranty, the evidence that he's showing is these turbines that are, for some reason, ocean turbines. Look at this thumbnail here. Awake Souls Limitless channel going to hell. Anyway, so he goes out there, he does this live, he has, these items that he's putting in front of the P900 and this, so he's got this all synced up. Even with his voice, he's got it all synced up. He's talking to people in the chat. While this is happening, he's talking to him right here. And then all the while, basically what's happening is that he's showing some excellent evidence of
the globe.
The curved Earth, dude. Yeah, because they're like, this has to be fake. I don't know if you can see this. My 4K's its resolution's kind of weird sometimes, but you can see the outline of these turbines here. And if you actually watch this video, it might be better quality for you, but you can see that, and there's better footage of this that he has. But these turbines are literally, some of them are tall up here that are closer.
Right.
Some of them are literally chugging water all the way over here, dude.
Well, that reminds me of Miles Davis' observation. He made the same observation. You haven't seen that one?
Probably, man. They're in the same general location.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get too far down the road here, because it's I don't know how long have we been going now. It's been a while, but I wanted to ask you about the 2 other things that have been going on in the flat Earth stuff, and so they're pretty much recent. I'm just kind of trying to catch up. I mean, maybe you can tell me. I haven't seen anything like that's drastically different than what was here before I left. But if there's anything in particular you want me to look at, I will. Now I'm rambling. But let me go back to the 2 things I want to talk about. One is, what's your take on this Nathan Oakley situation with his girl? What do you think about that? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, it is my opinion that I lean heavily towards the kid was smacked. And the audio, people can say, oh, visual, you weren't there, you don't know empirically. Well, the audio says enough for me to know that, if he could have said, something like he slapped his leg or something to get her, or whatever. But it was like this quirky way that he does everything in. So he smacked her across the face, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty odd that the way he named that hangout, slap to the face the globe, something like that. He renamed that hangout. I don't know if you knew that or not.
He's running off the supposition that basically flat earthers have shared the sentiment with it, in that any publicity is good publicity. Therefore, if you can enrage our side, well, then we're going to come and we're going to troll him, and therefore he gets more views. And this is all a ploy. That whole show, is literally a show. It's an entertainment show. It's supposed to be funny.
That is actually true. I mean, they do get more attention with stuff like that whenever we produce videos, that directly attack specific flat earthers. They definitely get more attention. That's actually one of the things that actually kind of leads into my next topic. one of the things one of my goals, I guess, for 2017 was to get my material, and not just my material, but other material that had globe evidence out there into the general public, because it seemed like the media and even other Christian outlets like Answers in Genesis, they were um, really focused on the flat earthers themselves, and I felt like that was actually drawing attention to the flat earthers, actually giving them more views, giving them exactly what they want. And my goal was to actually get one of the debunkers, any one of us. Obviously, it would have been nice if it was mine, but it wouldn't have mattered to me. Just get any one of us into the media as like the balanced other side of the story, you know. But it just never happened. And
Yeah, I think I shared with you the two media articles I hijacked, or at least two, I think maybe three I was in, where
yeah,
people would, yeah, okay. So yeah, I've definitely done that. I think it would be interesting. They kind of have asked um, about this general question of, oh, why isn't there an Earth curvature book? It's a really dumb thing to ask for, in my opinion, because really any NASA book with a bunch of pictures from Earth would basically be that. But it'd be interesting to put observations from all
yeah.
these different people together in some kind of a book or ebook or something like that.
I think it would definitely be interesting to have like because it is true. A lot of people aren't aware that you can go take photographs, like your photograph you have on the screen right there. You know, people aren't aware of that, right? So they hear the stuff in the flat Earth. They've never thought about it before. And flat Earth has all this marketing, and they've had all these years of us actually combating them to refine their arguments. And their arguments become more and more um, propagandized, you know, like actually convincing propaganda, until somebody actually learns more information to find out that it's false. Um, so there are some people that fall for that. And that's what I was saying. Like, it seems like we need to have people in the media, or people at least getting as much attention as the flat earthers do. Which brings me to my next point, which is, have you heard of Simon Dan?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So this Simon Dan character recently just had a big bump in subscribers, and I was curious what you thought about that. And what do you think about his channel? I tend to like his channel, to be honest. Um, but all of a sudden, he's at 41,000 subscribers. It happened like overnight almost. He was on trending. Somehow he got one of his videos on trending. And I'm curious more about what you think, how he did that. You know, I'm not questioning the genuineness of it, which the flat earthers do, but I'm questioning how he did it. How did he get to a trending page? You know, how do we do it?
Well,
How do we get more of us doing that?
let's just say it surely wasn't his content, because his content is not worthy of that kind of growth over that kind of time.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as what I think is, either he's a PR pro in SEO,
Mm-hmm.
and he sits there and spends a full-time job or close into putting it on Facebook, Twitter, all of these different mediums, making little memes and putting them in different places, and doing like an extra amount of work. Or he bought subs. I mean, bought interaction on his YouTube channel. There's no other choice for me, in my opinion. I don't think that naturally happens. There could be another. Yeah, it's not natural. It's not organic, in my opinion. His content isn't something that's like appealing to in that way. It's just not. I know this stuff pretty well. Um, yeah. So he knows what's up. I was getting on to him the other day, actually, in Sean Hufford's or something. I was going off on him about how he was buying subs, but I was just kind of being
Yeah.
facetious, basically. But
Yeah.
so
That's what we need, though. I mean, I mean, that's what we need. If you look at people like, I mean, maybe they're
No,
buying
we
subs.
don't. Listen, this is what's the
I
problem.
I
is
don't
that
want to. I
when
don't want to
you
buy subs. No, that's
no
what I'm
no the
talking
thing
about.
is
What we need is more subs.
look, exposure. Like I said, these people run off this mentality of any publicity is good publicity. The exposure of somebody getting 40,000 subs or 1,000,000 subs, what does that do for the flat Earth tag? What does that do for all of the numbers that these people think that they're going off of? It's stagnated. It's not something that's skyrocketing, even though it's been in the mainstream media. Even though Kyrie Irving and people from different, Breakfast Club groups have come out, basically, and promoted this at different times for years now. It's been up and down and up and down. And basically, if you have a Simon Dan or if you have 10 Simon Dans on there, all it does is give credibility to them. Their argument lies on the credence of it, getting bigger and going from 5% to 95% overnight. And as David Weiss said it 3 years ago.
Whoa, hold on a second. Jesus. All of a sudden the video started playing out of nowhere. I was going to bring up, I mean, I did it, I would say 7 months ago or 6 months, 5 months, how long ago it was I did my last video for him coming back now. I would have totally agreed with you that it's all of the popularity is totally drummed up, mostly just bored people, making it bigger than it really is, by promoting it, by pestering media sources and putting it on billboards and stuff like that. But it's not really a thing. There's not really a lot of people. And I would totally agree with you on that. And then I read this article from Forbes magazine, and it was the title is "Only 2/3 of American millennials believe the Earth is round." Right? And I'm like, hold on a second. And then you dig down into it, and of course the numbers aren't really like that, but it's basically that there's there is a significant percentage of, I don't know why they say millennials, but I guess millennials, of people in general, because they talk about other age groups, that actually have considered this. They're not 100% sure that the Earth is a globe, and that that article kind of was like, wait a minute, what? It's a YouGov poll that was performed. I'll have to send you a link to it, Tim.
Yeah, I actually, I don't know if you saw a Greater Sapiens video on it, but I think he logically goes over it. It's a catchy title. It doesn't actually purport what it's actually trying to say. It's not.
Oh, really? Greater Sapien?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Greater Sapien.
I'll have to watch that video.
I think it was probably within 2 months or so.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that.
Cool.
Well, Timmy, your observations are awesome, man. I think I'm about ready to wrap it up if you are.
Yep.
I would like a copy of that image if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll give you this one, and the original one's actually off the P900.
That'd be awesome,
so
man.
Kinda, cool.
Well, thanks for joining me, Tim. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Welcome back, man. It's good to have you back.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I'll catch you soon.
All right, everyone. Have a good night.
Later, man.